Hello, it is Chief Justice Dr. Winston George Tannis again. This is an interim release before my major judicial statement and direction on Gaza, possibly Haiti, and Ukraine and Russia in the next 24 hours, and from one of the Beacon Court hearing rooms rather than my chamber directly. I am both happy and unhappy with the current peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine and respective allies, as well as between Palestine and Israel. I'm not perfectly happy, but I have seen improvements in the peace plans tabled, including the most recent peace plan tabled by Russia, proposing that Ukraine become a neutral state, not formally affiliated with NATO and like other admirable members of the United Nations, some of them known as aligned with the non-aligned movement, as neutral countries in a vast world order, driven for decades now by geostrategic considerations by various nation states, with particular mandates to proselytize and influence regime changes towards their mode of governance, which has caused havoc in the international system. And I'll be speaking to that issue as well in my interim but major ruling of the next 24 hours and set of directions as to how we need to conduct ourselves internationally in the fields of espionage and the fields of covert operation by state and non-state actors, all stimuli for the new World War context that we're creating and on the verge of renuclearizing the world and entering into a dangerous new wave of a cold and vicious war involving nuclear arms. I have been sympathetic for decades now to both the Jewish and the Palestinian people. And during a long process of war and wars, stimulated by problems in Europe in the pre-1944 and 48 period in history, but we are moving on into a new era of international relations and justice, and there have been improvements despite this major setback at this moment in time, this major regression in international affairs, and this fearful ramping up and polarization of the world on non-nuanced claims of democracy versus authoritarian regimes across the world. The World Federation is far more nuanced than that, state by state, country by country, community by community within countries and continents. And I will tell you, I'm not merely a judge, but an expert and a gold medalist in political science and political theory and different governance structures. And what makes the world very interesting today are the nuanced differences between various democracies, other states that call themselves socialist, social democratic, theocratic, communist, etc. My gavel, as I've warned recently, is very, very sharp, and it's because my judicial temper and sense of timing are both being accented. Yet judicial temperament is key. I shall not lose my sense of neutrality or justice or good temper in reviewing all the facts at hand. I would ask Ukraine to look very seriously at what's been proposed by Russia, their defense interests and Ukraine's defense interests, mutually assured non-destruction. I would ask you to take a look at my peace plan, which involves co-governance apparatuses and ministries and executive positions and council positions in both Kiev and Moscow, and permitting Ukraine to lead itself in the world, much like Canada and other states, with its own sense of sovereignty and relations with each and every country of the world of its choosing, including all those countries of the New Asia League, all those countries of the European Union and Mediterranean Union, as well as members of the Arab League and the Organization of American States, and on and on and on, yet with a new relationship of mutual respect and mutual sense of security needs, orbited, known by Ukraine and Russia. I will keep pushing for my peace formulas to be duly considered on the table, but I find in the recent Russian proposal great reasonableness and a great stride forward in arriving at peace plans that make sense for both countries, their history together, their future together, and their allegiances with different and similar states across Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world, and including, of course, members of North America, Central and South America, the Middle East, Africa, and Australasia. Regarding rapprochement and improvements in negotiations regarding Gaza, I don't necessarily think it prudent for Hamas to be a lead negotiator among the newly restructured Palestinian Authority. And I do think the leader of the Palestinian Authority, with all his wit and experience and influence in the world, macro as it is, much like the Israeli state and the Jewish people seeking out support across the global community for their aspirations, as well as a people looking for security and statehood, or at least a governance model that provides peace and security for elders and adults and the children of Palestine, Israel, the Palestinian people and folk, and same for the Jewish folk and people and all the people of the Levant, best considered through my new Levantine Commonwealth institution, and to breed a better cooperative pan-Levantine spirit. Stay tuned in the next 24 hours. My formal decision and judgment in the interim towards both conflicts shall be addressed, and with comments upon the recent further outbreak of violence in Haiti. This is Dr. Winston George Tannis, Global Chief Justice, who will be coming out with some very frank and unusual, extraordinarily honest statements about the current problems in media and warfare and the legal narrative influencing global citizens from across the entire planet, and in connection with these two major conflicts that are stirring up much worry across the entire world, and especially by those who are taking time to tune in to the severity of things. Thank you for listening. I just want to see how the system works. Testing 1, 2, 3. This is Winston George Tannis in studio.